And then as you're turning in the homework too, remember that Monday, whoever you have on Monday, that's your grading teacher. So that's the one that's the basket that you put it in there. Okay? All right? What? Yeah. The note packet? Yeah. Did you lose yours?
Well, I was confused.
I thought you were here yesterday. You want a cover sheet too, bud?
Sure.
All right. So we are in the packets today. We're going to do F2 today, which is like the 4th and 5th page, I think, because yesterday was a 3-pager. So that's where we're at right now. Okay? All right? It's a bar graph. It should be a bar graph. So we took the R and made it an A. Then it's like what the sheep's say. Wouldn't work if it was a blue graph. Hard length graph. All right. So yesterday we talked about plotting points. Okay? And we were plotting points in all 4 different quadrants. Okay? And how a point is x comma y. Oops, somebody erased it. Remember, all these points are always x comma y, or horizontal comma vertical. Okay? Today, what we're going to do is we're going to focus in on just quadrant number 1. You have to break that up. You have to break it because we got so much stuff before we can even start putting points on there. Okay? Right? So that we know what we're doing. Okay? Right? So we're going to focus in just in quadrant number 1. Okay? Because that's the positive quadrant. Everything's positive there. Everything is rainbows and unicorns in quadrant number 1. We're going to focus in on that. Plus, that's where, in quadrant number 1, that's where all of our data and how we can use this stuff, or why we're doing plotting points and learning all of that stuff, is all happens in quadrant number 1. Okay? Because we can piece together numerical information. For instance, how long their hair is in centimeters versus how long they've been growing it. Okay? All right? And so like my hair is getting kind of long. I know. I need a haircut. I get it. Okay? All right? My hair is kind of long, but my hair has been growing a while. You know, this is like, I think this is 18. I think this is 3.5 weeks. Okay? And so we could plot that. 3.5, we'd go 3.5 to the right, and then we could measure it and go up that far. Whereas somebody that's younger than me who actually probably has hair that actually grows, okay, you're 3.5, you might have to go up a little higher, but we can plot those all on the same grid, and then we can look at the patterns. Here's the key right here, is we look for patterns in the data to see if there's a relationship that's going on, okay? Or to see if there's no relationship. Sometimes you're going to plot data, and there's going to be no relationship. You're going to say, well, okay, it's just a random thing then. Okay? But if there seems to be a trend in the data, we can model that. Okay? So, how we're going to go about doing that is we're going to look at this. Okay? So we're going to do hair length versus shoe length. Okay? So we're going to compare their hair. We're basically trying to see if there's a relationship between the length of a person's hair and the size of their feet. Okay? Right? Okay? But the first thing that we need to do before we even plot points, no, you're not. You're starting to plot points. I can see dots on your paper already. Okay? All right? Before we even do that, we have to do one crucial thing first. Okay? And that crucial thing is that we have to label the axes, because that's going to determine which way, how far we're going on with our points. Okay? You cannot get by in this unit, or when you're plotting data, I should say, without first identifying which axes, so vertical and horizontal, is what. Okay? That tells you exactly where you need to plot the points then. Okay? Because the point 29, 22 is different than the point 22, 29. Okay? They're at different locations, so you're going to have a different graph if you do that. Okay? All right? So what do we want to put on our, oops, I don't want that. What do we want to put on our horizontal? Hair length or shoe length? Shoe length on the horizontal and hair length on the vertical? Because then when we look at our table, then we're looking at it as x comma y, right? Is what you're saying? Okay? Right? Would we agree with that? That we go hair length on the bottom? So in that box on the horizontal, down here, we're going to put, hair length. So now hair length has become our x value. Because you're out of that. No. So hair length is now our x. Shoe length is now going to be our y. You have it nice. You can turn your paper to the side and write it like normal. I, on the other hand, can't. I can't hover in midair on my side. Okay? All right? So this, then, this point right here would be the point 29, 22. Okay? Based off of our labels, that is that point. Okay? So we need to go 29 to the right. There's not 9 boxes in between there, right? They are going by 2, are we sure? Okay, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in between, and it's going to 10, so each one is 2. Okay, so we got to check that too. Check our scaling of it. So each one is 2. So if you need to write in 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 14, 24, 26, and 28. If you need to fill that in, you can. Okay? But they're going by 2s on the bottom. What about on the side? Are they also going by 2s? Yeah, they're also same scaling on that one, going by 2s. So then this would be 2, 4, 6, 8. Doesn't hurt to fill those in. Okay? So the first one then is 29, 22. Okay? So we're going to go over to 29, which is going to be halfway in between 28 and 30, and we're going to go up to 22. So we're going to put a dot right there. They are all different ones. Okay? So we could label this. I'm going to label it with the first letter of their name. So Amani, I'm going to put an I next to that one. Okay? How do I get Hiroshi's point? You mean distance, direction, distance, direction. Or direction, distance, direction, distance, too, I would also accept. For Hiroshi. This one. Okay. 17 right. 22.5 up. Okay, so 17 to the right is here. Okay, and then 22.5 would be a little bit above that 22 line. And that's going to be Luis. Where is Luis? Direction, distance, twice. Or distance, direction, twice. Tom, talk to me. We'll just go around the room. Jason did the first one, you're going to do the next one. We're at Luis. Right 27, up 26. Okay? So 27 would be halfway. 26 would be right about there. And that was Luis. Okay? Really, you got Jacob. How do I get there? What's my horizontal distance? 21. Okay, and then up or down? Which one? Up, because we're only in quadrant number 1, right? Yep. So right 21, up 24. Yep. Right 21, up 24. That was Jacob. Great, you got Asher. Talk to me.
Right 4 up 27.
Be halfway between 26 and 28. He's got long hair. Well, I don't know. They have long hair and really small feet. Or wait, other way around. Really short hair and really big feet. Okay? By the way, you have Ava. Directions, distance. Can you do me another favor? Okay. Right 29, and then you said up 25. Oh, 2.5? Should be 25. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Might be the glare. 29, 25 puts me right there. Right smack dab in the middle of that square. And that was Ava. Okay? Chloe, you got Mom. What's our horizontal distance? 29.5, right? So a little bit more than 29. So it's going to be a little bit more to the right of the E's and the I's. Okay? And then how far up? 20. And we're going to go up 20. We're going to go a little bit farther, and that one, and that was. Mr. Gomez, you have Carla. And 24 up, 32 to the right. Uh-oh, what's wrong with that one? There's no 32. So we know it's going to be roughly the same size, right? Outside of that, okay? All right. So we can go off the graph, okay? So, and then we said, what did we say? 24, because we were Carla. 24, so we would be right about there for Carla, okay? We can go off the graph, and that may happen sometimes that you have to go off of the graph. And then you just do your best job of estimating how far off the graph you need to go. Okay? We're up to Raj. Up, 6 right, 26.5 up. 26.5, isn't that? Whoa, tap the brakes. That's a 27. Okay, so we're up right in Izzy, Brandon. Point two up. Go to the right, point two up. Right over there. All right. So that is your data plot. That is called a data plot then, because you have taken all of that data and you have plotted it on one graph or one coordinate system. Okay? Now, from there then, now we can ask a bunch of different questions. Okay? So the first question is, who has the shortest hair? Asher? Now there's two different ways that we can go about doing that. Do we all agree that Asher has the shortest hair? Yeah? Okay? There's two different ways we can look at that. The first way is we can look at it by looking at our data chart. So I've got you over in that fourth row. It's the same seat you sat in yesterday, Asher. Okay? So we can look at our data chart in hair length, and we can say what number is the smallest, right? If we want shortest hair, or what number is the biggest if we want longest hair. And so we look down this data line, and the smallest one is this one right here. So that would be the shortest one. Okay? Second way we could do it is we could look at our graph. Because hair is our horizontal distance, okay? We would look at the shortest hair would be the leftmost point. Longest hair would be the rightmost point. Okay? So the leftmost point would be A, which we said was, we went by first name, which was Asher. So Asher is going to have the shortest hair. Follow-up question to that one that's not on there, who has the longest hair? Then. Why? She's got the biggest number from the chart, or she's the farthest one out there. She's the farthest point out there. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. Anita, we're up to you and going around the room now. Who's got the biggest shoe size? Still Asher? Okay. So how did you find that? How did you find that Asher had the biggest shoe size? It's the tallest point, or it's the point that's up at the top the most? Yep, that's one. Or we could have looked down the column and looked for the biggest number, right? Yep, exactly. So Asher, again, has the biggest shoe size. My wrist just after they who shall not be named just said how to find the biggest shoe size at home, or how to find your shoe size at home. Luckily, she didn't want me to say. Okay? Who's got the smallest? Right, we're up to you. Who's got the smallest shoe size? Bonus question. And two ways to tell that? Smallest number in that column. It's the point that's that's closest to the horizontal axis, right? Look, good job. Okay. Next, the question is there a relationship between shoe length and hair length? So does there seem to be a relationship there? This is kind of a tricky question. You know what I mean? Okay. So I'm not even going to ask. Okay? Because there's kind of a couple of different ways you could interpret this. Okay? You could say that, you could say that there is kind of a relationship that kind of goes through here, right? They're kind of like grouped right around that line. Okay? But you could also say that they're kind of all over the board, right? I personally would say that there is a relationship because they're all pretty tight to that line. Okay? All right? So I would say that there is. But that's just me. Now, if your graph looked like this, I'm just going to draw this over here. I'm just going to go. If that was your graph, for sure there's no relationship there. Okay? Because it's all over the board. Okay? But you will also see some graphs that look pretty, like that you can definitely tell that there is a relationship. Or that you can even look like that, where you can definitely see a pattern developing. Okay? Okay? Why wouldn't you ever see 27, 2 plotted on this graph? Ooh, that's a good question. Why wouldn't we see 27, 2 plotted on this graph? That would be right in here. It would be 27, 2. Would that make sense for this one? First off, could it happen? No, not 27 for a shoe length. 27 for a hair length. 2 for a shoe length. Could that happen? I mean, I've seen some young kids with pretty long hair, right? So it could happen, right? Could happen. But what? Say it out loud. Because what is it? 2 centimeters long. Okay? So we're not talking shoe size here. We're talking length of their shoe. Okay? So that probably wouldn't happen there. Okay? And would it fit our data? No, it wouldn't fit our data. Okay? Because we just said that there seems to be a relationship right there. And a shoe length I not say of, I want to say is. And we go with what? Shoe length is way too small. Alright, love it. So, I think we're on the back side, or, well, actually, you're probably on a new page now. Okay? Number 6 says, imagine that you made a great song. You dropped a sick beat. Okay? Alright? And it's available only online, because you guys probably don't even know what a record store is anymore. Do you know what one is? Or okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Back in my day, I went to the exclusive company and bought actual records, and you had to literally flip through 17 different records to find the one that you wanted. Okay? So it's available for sale online at $2 for every download. Okay? Use the table to list example scenarios and then plot them on the graph to the right. So before we plot them on the right, what do we need to do first? before we plot our points, what do we have to do first? Yeah? You don't know? What did we do first on the other page? Jason, what did we do first? We got to label the axes first. Okay? We have to label it. So do we want downloads on the horizontal? Or do we want money on the horizontal? Horizontal is horizontal. Vertical is up.
And we want
Downloads on that one? Okay. So we're going to want to put downloads in here in this box. And then we're going to put income in that box. Okay? Gotta do that first before we do the problem. Gotta have our axes labeled. Okay? All right, Taylor. Now, back to you. Now we're back in. This is an easy one, I promise. I'm only been throwing softballs. Okay? If you drop this 6 feet, okay, and you're selling it for $2 online, okay, and 7 people download it, how much straight cash do you have in your pocket? $14, right? Because how'd you get that? 7 times 2, so you got 14 right there, okay? So that then translates into what point, Zayden? So what point does it translate? A point is, remember, x comma y. Let other people answer. You don't have to answer every single one. How do I get there? 7 comma what? 7 comma y? So what's your x's in this problem? Downloads? Okay, what's your y's in this problem? Income, right? Because that's how you labeled your axes, right? Okay, so this would transfer into what point? X comma y. A number comma number. You gotta. We only have 2 numbers on this one line, so you gotta use them both. Okay. So what point would it transfer into? 7, comma. There's only one other number. 14. 7 comma 14. No, you didn't. You were saying 7 comma y, and then you were saying x comma 14. But it's 7 comma 14. There's only 2 numbers to use. Okay? You gotta ignore this over here. Okay? You just gotta ignore it. And next week I'll move you to the other side so you can ignore it. Okay? Alright? Okay? 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 So, where am I going to plot 7 comma 14? First off, we gotta determine what? They're going up by 10s, right? Ashley, you see that they're going up by 10s? Okay? So that means that 7 is where on this axis? No, the first one's 10. If you just said that they're going up by 10s, then this first bar right here is 10. So where is 7? Like, kind of in the middle, right? But closer to the right side, right? Okay? Where then is 14? Up what? So a little bit lower. So you label this one 10, you label this one 20. So based off of that, you kind of went right in there. Yeah? Lisa, do you agree with that positioning? Because if we're going by 10s, right, because that's our scale, 7 wouldn't be quite all the way to the first bar, or the first line, and 14 would be just past the first line. Do you agree with that? I would agree with that too. Okay? Jason, we're all the way back to you. If you drop a sick beat now, and you got 10 downloads, how much money did you make? 20, right? Now that one's an easy one because we went by 10s, So we went, and it should be right there. Yes? Okay. Down. You got 22 sick beats downloads. How much money did you make? How much? What's 2 times 2? What's 2 times 2? Because there's 2, it's 22 times 2. So you got 2 times 2 and then 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. So you made how much money? $44. Yep. Okay? Now, you're ready. Here's the kicker. You got the hard question. I'm sorry. I know I'm the meanest. Where is the point 22, 44? Well, remember we're going by scales of tens, right? Okay, so this one was, then this one would be, okay, so we'd be a little bit past that then, right? Okay, and then how far up would we go? This would be, this would be, a little bit more up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Between 15 and
yep, exactly. So you'd be kind of like somewhere right in here. Right there? Yeah, good job. See? I knew it wasn't that hard of a question. Okay. What kind of music do you listen to? Rock and roll? No?
Anything besides country.
You were killing me right there. You know what I actually listen to? Old country, not new country. Old country. Okay? But that's right. Excellent. Okay? So if you drop 35 non-country tunes, how much money you got in your pocket?
7.
7. Yeah. 7. Okay? Okay? Just like that. Where is the point 35, 70 on our graph? Talk to me lines that I gotta go horizontally. No, horizontally. So that'd be how many lines? So like this would be 1 line, this would be 2 lines, this would be 3 lines, you know. Right in the middle of the which lines? 3rd and 4th line, okay? Because that would be where 35 is, right? Because the 3rd line would be 30, 4th line would be 40, 35 is halfway between. How many lines do I gotta go up? 7, yeah. 20, 30, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Chloe, pick me a number bigger than 35. Oh, even bigger. Like, that's too close. You know what I mean? Something bigger than 35, but less than 50. Put a limit on. 40? Okay, I like 40. Adrian, she chose 40 downloads. Right? How much money you got in your pocket? $80. Brilliant. We're going to go a different way. How much money do you want in your pocket? $100? Are you living in between my ears? Because I'm like, God, which was 100? Nice. Okay? So, Izzy, if you've got $100 in your pocket, how many songs got downloaded? No? Went the wrong way. If you've got $100 in your pocket, how many songs got downloaded? What times 2 gets me 100? What times 2 gets me 100? You almost said it. You were so close. 50, right? Okay? Yeah, I know. That's what I said. You almost said it. Okay? So 50, 100 would be right there. Okay? Now, my question to you is, Is there a relationship between these points? Yes or no? Heck yeah, they look like they're all in a straight line, right? Yeah. So there is definitely a relationship between these points. Okay? So, Bryce, how many downloads would we need to get $120 in our pocket? We're going to take 120 and we're going to do what with it? Now, for everybody else that's in the back of the room yelling out the answer, we're going to tell them to shh, because we want Bryce to figure this one out. He actually didn't this time. You did a very good job this time. He was that corner of the room this time. How do you think Izzy, when we said we had $100, how do you think she came up with 50? Or when after Chloe chose 40, we knew that it was 80. So like she would have chosen 80 over here, we would have gotten 40. You know what? We're multiplying this one by 2, right? Which means if we're multiplying the downloads by 2 to get the income, what are we doing for the income to get the downloads? No? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So what are we going to divide by? If we multiply by 2, what are we going to divide by? 2. We're going to divide by 2 coming back. So what is 120 divided by 2? What? No. 12 divided by 2. 6. And then throw an extra 0 on it, right? 60. Yeah. So we would need 60 downloads to make that. Okay? Okay. If our grid was big enough to put it up, would the point 61, 122 be on our graph? Well, what were we doing to go from downloads, right? Because that was our X, right? So this right here was our downloads. And then this was our income, right? Okay, do you remember what we were doing to find all those numbers? Multiplying by 2. So what is 61 times 2? So, and that's what that other number is, right? So would that point be on our graph? Heck yeah, it would be. Okay. Then number 9. Shaking your head no for number 9, or no, it's not on the graph. Why is it not on the graph? Because the last one was yes, so the next one's got to be no. Okay, give me another chance. So how did we find that column, that second column? What did we do with our downloads to find money? 5. Okay, so what's 80 times 2? What's 8 times 2?
8 times 2.
Yep. 16. Add another 0. 160. So this number, oops, hold on, tap break. My OCD is kicking in. Wrong colors. So this number, we need to multiply by 2, and you said we got 160, right? Are these two numbers the same? No. So that's why it's not. Okay? Because this number would have to be 160 in order for it to be on our graph. Okay? I think that's it, right? Yes, it is.